What's up, musicians? Dane here, back with another TML interview. This is actually part 2 with our Corey Foster interview. He's going to be talking about teaching. It's some great stuff, so check it out. As well as, a session drummer and touring musician, you taught me.
Yep.
So
good student here.
Thank you. What inspired you to teach?
So I started teaching to get a couple extra dollars when I was about 15. I had a few family friends who wanted to learn how to play drums, and I immediately started loving it, mainly because it allowed me to keep drumming. Even when, I'm teaching. I'm still drumming when I'm teaching. It's
right.
Amazing. It's like, it's like taking something that you love and, having to either make money or just figuring out ways to keep doing it in different capacities. And I'd say, to be perfectly honest, that's one of my favorite parts about it, or at least it was in the very beginning, is something that I could do besides mowing lawns, or weeding flower beds.
Right.
And I just loved it. And as I kept teaching, I started to really enjoy how much music was uplifting people's attitudes in life. I think arts just really improve the quality of life for everybody. So as far as is it a natural progression for musicians to teach or for artists to teach? I know a lot of musicians who do not like to teach, and I know a lot of great teachers who don't really like to perform very much. So it's an interesting thing, and I think it's different for everybody. I will say that the people I know who are a little bit more formally educated tend to be more apt to teach, more likely to teach, and that's one of the things that I really recommend is if you're interested in teaching for whatever reason, or you just want to try it, make sure that you have taken lessons, or that you are actively taking a lesson here or there while you're teaching. Every once in a while, I take a lesson, even on an instrument that I don't play very often. It really helps me keep fresh and discover new approaches that other teachers have, besides, the typical ways I might go about teaching something. So I think for some people, they just kind of fall into teaching. And for me, it's something that I always want to do. I love spreading the gift of music into other people and helping them develop talent. And
I know that for me, I've tried teaching a couple lessons here and there. There's definitely a different approach with each student.
Absolutely.
How do you approach your individual teaching style? I know you're really focused on each student as their own musician and person.
I really try to cater to their interests, and one of the first things that I do with a new student is just talk for sometimes even half the lesson about what drew you to drums, what drew you to music, and I quickly find out their favorite bands or their favorite type of music. Some students are rather young and they don't really know yet, but I can get a sense for, are they doing it because it's like super cool and they have some friends that play drums, or do they want to start a band, or have they seriously seen some awesome drumming and they really actually are super into drumming on its own. And I found that I can teach any, rudimentary skill, necessary skill through whatever they're interested in. Let's say they want to, develop their, rock fills.
Yeah.
I'd teach them songs, or if they're getting into rudiments, they're trying to develop their 5-stroke roll or something. I go out and find a song with 5-stroke roll in it. So we don't learn a 5-stroke roll, bland and on a piece of paper or whatever, and then apply it. It's a direct application. They're taking it from a musical place and ingesting it, and automatically it's usable, So I try to be creative in that regard. Always trying to know what any drummer is going to need and figure out a way to guide them through it on their journey instead of just having like a standard curriculum. So yeah, and it keeps it more fun for me too, because you know, I get home from 5 or 6 lessons and I'm like, oh man, Joey needs this. How am I gonna do this? It's so much more fun for me because I've done the whole, you know, come up with the great exercise and give it to all your students, and that doesn't work. I really feel like that doesn't work for very long. 2 years later, like I have some students now that I had done that to about 3 years ago maybe, and now we're getting back to some of those, you know, handwritten sheets that I had come up with then that I had given to all my students, and now it's appropriate for them. And it just hits people in different times. So I really do try to cater to people's their interests, and that keeps people more interested too.
Cool.